We need to talk traditional martial arts versus combat sports. The debate is older than martial arts itself, probably, I don't know. But today we're going to learn from a man who has been studying martial arts and living in China for more than 15 years, why it can be beneficial to study traditional martial arts.
Hey guys, so I know it's been a while since I did one of my T-chats, but I had a few thoughts that I want to share with all of you. So recently, YouTuber Ranton made a video talking about all the reasons that he became disillusioned with his Shaolin Kung Fu training.
Maybe you should watch that as well.
Many of them very valid points, and I do agree with a lot of the things he said. And then my friend Damien from Kung Fit made a reaction video where he gave his own responses to all of those points. And I think a lot of the stuff that Damien said is really, really good. And it made me think a bit about my own training and the benefits that I've got from traditional martial arts. So I wanted to make this video to share on a more personal level what traditional martial arts have given me in my life, what are the biggest benefits, and why do I keep training. So I think one of the points that Ranton made is really pertinent and very, very accurate. And that's talking about the toxicity and the negativity.
Oh boy, yeah.
You know, the reality is that there's a lot of fakes out there. There's a lot of people promoting an agenda, whether it's trying to build up their own ego, making money off vulnerable and gullible people, or whatever. The thing is, social media has given us this amazing platform where we can share our knowledge, we can exchange knowledge and experiences.
Yes, that's a good thing, and I wouldn't miss it, honestly, because when we heard stories from our master back then, he had to travel like the whole world or half around the globe to just learn from a master. And today, with social media, everything is accessible. That's the good part. The sad part is that every lunk can put out his form, his Kung Fu form on the internet, showing it, and people are then probably going to see, oh, okay, maybe he's doing some sort of Kung Fu, oh, maybe you should learn this and that. And this gets really dangerous when we go in that self-defense environment, because a lot of people then sharing applications out of forms that they have seen somewhere, maybe not even learned properly from a master with a proper instruction, and then just show it with a collaborative partner. This is how you defend against this grab and this grab and blah 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 blah. And with that, if people take that seriously, and unfortunately a lot of people do, you can get into serious trouble when shit hits the fan. And that's why I always tell, maybe it's better to have first a combat sports background and then go into traditional martial arts. I did it the other way around. I wouldn't say I regret it, but I think it's the better way, because first you need to have like a combat experience, experience in fighting somebody that is resisting. Almost point number one in learning martial arts.
We can bring to light rarer seen arts, bring more attention to them. So social media is a fantastic tool, and obviously there's money to be made from it, and I think it's only fair that when people have got something valuable to offer, they're compensated for it. We all have to make a living.
Yeah, 100%.
That's completely understandable and fair.
And in my opinion, also, every martial arts instructor should make a living out of it if he takes it seriously, period. How this is going to be done is on another piece of paper, and I think we are going to discover the money aspect also here. I'm not sure, but otherwise I would talk about it.
That being said, there are people with nefarious interests that are distorting reality. They're promoting a fake version of martial arts. They've got an agenda where they're more focused on what gets the clicks. They don't really care if they're being ridiculed for promoting fake martial arts. They just want to get the clicks and the views. Honestly, a lot of people are watching it to laugh at it, but they don't care because they're making money from it. There are people like that.
A little insight from somebody who creates content. You don't make money out of TikTok and Instagram at all if you're not in the partner program in TikTok. Don't know if that's a thing anymore, but there is something, or a fund, so to speak. On Instagram there was once the same. You have now these tiers in certain countries that you can pay somebody, but you don't, for clicks, you don't get money instantly. On YouTube it's something else. On YouTube, you have to join the YouTube Partner Program, and in order to do that, you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, which is a huge amount for a creator when he just started out. I was lucky, or I took my shit together, and I managed to get in the last year. Just 1 month ago, we made it into the YouTube Partner Program with Martial Arts Viking. And then when you start, you're not gonna earn like crazy amounts of money. I mean, I can show you this. Okay, I have had 70,000 views this month, 1,200 watch hours, plus 128 subscribers, and I made a whopping almost $40. That's the reality of how much you earn. This is not with selling products. Selling products then is on the other way around, and a lot of people start to sell their own courses in self-defense. That's how you make the money.
There are people that have sort of cultivated this, you know, fantasy movie-like image of themselves as being, you know, some kind of grandmaster. It's like, you know, got amazingly high-level skills and deep knowledge, and then they're selling courses for, you know,
yeah, exactly.
crazy amounts of money. So that is a reality.
That's how you make the big money.
Is just everywhere, and unfortunately, you know, because they're getting so much attention, people that aren't familiar with Chinese martial arts are seeing this sort of stuff and taking that to be, you know, the representative of what Chinese martial arts is. So,
and I mean, they're not even to blame if it's all over the place. Then you have to take something as granted. We all do this. That's just human.
There is genuinely a very big problem there, and also it is, you know, naturally sort of a human tendency to sort of overly focus on negative things, right? You know, if there's some middle-aged, like, self-proclaimed master walks into an MMA school claiming he can beat them all up, gets his ass kicked, you know, 2 black eyes and knocked out, you know, that's always gonna get more attention. Never mind the fact that there are these kind of deluded individuals in any walks of life, and they're not representative of the community as a whole. Unfortunately, the way the internet is, people see that and take that as a representation of the whole. So, you know, there are plenty of people out there making videos of themselves fighting with traditional martial arts successfully. Unfortunately,
Jeff Chan does
get
this.
The same amount of traction as the negative stuff.
And it gets a lot of traction.
So, I try not to focus on that stuff. It is out there and it does kind of taint us, but I try and focus on what I'm doing, and I believe that there's value in that. Anyway, that aside, I want to focus on the positives. So, whereas in Damien's video on his channel Kung Fit, he was focused more on the tangible benefits that martial arts could bring to you as a potential martial artist. I want to focus this more on what it's brought to my own life personally.
So personal story, okay.
There's been a huge value in the way that Chinese martial arts have steered my life in the direction that it's in. And I definitely wouldn't be where I am today in anywhere in my life if it wasn't for Chinese martial arts. So, for a little bit of background, I started Wing Chun as a teenager. I think I was about 14 years old. I did Wing Chun from 14 to about 18, and I grew up in a small town in the north of England, in Yorkshire. Other than family holidays to Europe, I'd never really been anywhere, especially not by myself. But practicing Wing Chun had kind of stirred something up in me, and I became curious to want to go and see where Kung Fu came from.
That's the same with me when I started Hunggar here in Switzerland. I also had like this. It started a fire in my heart. Before I started, 1 or 2 months before, I picked up a gym membership once again, trying to lose weight because I was highly obese. I can show you some pictures how I looked. When I look at those pictures back, it's just like, it's obnoxious. Really, I never want to be in that place anymore. That's one of the reasons why I started all my martial arts and social media thing. And really, my instructor rose that fire in me that I wanted to pursue this, because it was hard. I sweated a lot, but I saw right after I saw the benefits that came from this. I was losing weight, I was more flexible, and it was really benefiting my overall health. And that's why I started then, okay, maybe martial arts has something to offer myself.
I didn't really know. I knew it came from Guangdong province and Hong Kong, but I didn't know too much about sort of what's what in China. I just wanted to go there. And so I did. I spent 6 months backpacking from Beijing through China, through Tibet, Everest Base Camp, and then over to Nepal, through Nepal, and then around northern India.
It's crazy brave move, right?
Absolutely life-changing. So many amazing experiences. It completely changed who I was as a person. And, you know, that's when I knew that I wanted to spend more time in China. It fascinated me. It was just such an amazing experience. So I went back there. I ended up in Shandong province in the north of China as an English teacher. I started to learn.
Yeah, that's where I got the money from. No, we talked about this on Instagram already. Because I was wondering how he financed his journey there, living like the dream of every martial artist in a country where your martial art that you are interested from came from, and learning from all the people. I mean, you have to earn your stuff, right?
To speak Chinese, and I'd get up early every morning. I'd go to the parks and try and find different, masters of different styles. That helped me to integrate and come to understand Chinese people. It helped my Chinese language develop very quickly. And then, eventually I was lucky enough to find my teacher, Zhou Jiandong, and I became a formal disciple of his, and he passed on the system of Taiji Mantis to me. And that experience allowed me to
Mantis, okay.
see China from the inside, something that I don't think that many people get to do, because...
I mean, that's the thing, why this channel, Monkey Steel Speech, is so valuable to all, I would say to all martial artists, because particularly those who are interested in Kung Fu and all this world building around Kung Fu, because Will is actually living there and sharing his experiences. I mean, not many people of us have the opportunity to even go to China. I mean, money-wise, time-wise, I wouldn't have it time-wise because I'm too busy for it. I couldn't make up time, but just maybe a month, and then I have to do other things in my life, right? And that's why I love to watch his videos, because it gets an insight in what is Kung Fu all about. And even though I'm not practicing Kung Fu anymore, I switched to kickboxing, I'm still interested because those are my roots in martial arts, and that's why I find it so interesting to watch.
I wasn't just being an expat hanging out, drinking craft beer in Shanghai. I was actually kind of deep in it, in a more regional part of China. I was practically living at my teacher's home. I mean, I was at his home pretty much every day, training, drinking tea, talking, just, understanding the life, understanding the thinking, the legacy of Taiji Mantis, what it meant to him as a person, the experiences he went through with the Cultural Revolution. So I got this real sort of intimate insider's view of China through that perspective, as well as interactions with lots of other Chinese. And of course, training like that, I was meeting, people from all different walks of Chinese life. Some people were, Communist Party members working in the government. Some people were like wealthy businessmen. There's like, taxi drivers and chefs and street sweepers and, farmers out in the countryside. Like, because of the martial arts, I was able to have.
Oh, nice. Karate Nerd, yeah, we watched this, or I watched it personally. That's really a good example of discovering martial arts, because Jesse Ankam from the Karate Nerd went over to see the origins of karate, and as it turns out, it has a lot to do with Kung Fu, and I think why Crane.
Chinese people from so many different walks of life, which allowed me to gain this really, really deep insight into the general zeitgeist of the country. I came to understand a lot of the traditional culture. I came to understand a lot of the modern problems, things that are going on in society, the concerns in everyday people's life, the relationship between the people and the government, which is something that's very misunderstood. And so when I moved to Australia and I did my master's degree in international relations, which is a branch of political science, I focused a lot of my research on Chinese politics, and I was able to draw on my experiences and my first-hand insights into how China works. How do people really think, and sort of get beyond the textbook kind of realpolitik and great power politics that so much analysis of China is focused on. I was able to really look at it from, well, what do the Chinese actually think? What is the relationship between the people and the government? What is the kind of core thoughts that underpin how the Communist Party thinks and how they view the world and their place in it? At the same time, coming to understand the culture and the society and the way people view the world as well has given me a different worldview. It's made it much easier for me to connect with people from different cultures, even if I'm not familiar with their culture. Just that having lived in a society different to my own, I'm aware of the differences in societies and cultures, and so able to bring that into getting to know people. So I think that Chinese martial arts and practicing it the way that I have has given me a much greater appreciation for the world and different worldviews. And I think that perhaps more than just the tangible benefits of greater self-confidence, ability to defend myself, greater fitness, strength, coordination. I think those are all really great benefits.
To be fair, when you talk about all those benefits, I mean, those are benefits that you get out of like almost every martial art that you pick up that has some sort of physical training. I mean, what I've seen from footage, or what I also experienced, Aikido training wasn't that physically demanding. And for sure, it's always better to do something than nothing. But I mean, we also have to cut down the ropes and tell it could be more effective, right? When you want that strength, that flexibility, blah, and so on and so on. There are better ways of doing something and worse ways of doing something. I was lucky enough to be in a Kungfu school the training was pretty hard. And now in my kickboxing gym that I am, where also the best of the best from my country train at, it is completely different. The beginner's training is not that physically demanding, and that's why I think of myself as pretty fit. And I know I'm not, because when I see then the pros competing or training, then I see, oh my shit, I couldn't spar with them for like 2, 3 rounds, 4 rounds even. Back in my Kung Fu school where I was, the training was the same for more or less all the people from no belt to black belt. Then it started to change somehow. It made me really fit from straight off the beginning. That's something that I appreciated, and also led to me as getting interest in martial arts from a broader perspective, right? That's why we're sitting here now.
But for me personally, what the martial arts has brought me has been that sort of worldliness, I think, and it's completely changed who I am as a person when I look back on who I was at 17, 18 years old in a small town, Tadcaster in North Yorkshire.
I mean, for sure, I mean, you traveled the world, and if that doesn't make you like worldly, then I don't know what will. I mean, you have the same problem with like racist people. I grew up on countryside, and I was never like in this kind of environment of like all the farmers that were slightly racist up until completely racist. But it's more a thing of when you live in certain areas on more the landscape where people are not exposed to a lot of colored people, whereas now where I'm living in the city, you see exactly the opposite. And one thing to fight this is you need more exposure to what you fear. And if you get this, for example, if you're a friend of you that is slightly racist or does racist jokes, and you put them in a martial arts gym where they're all people from different countries, they will learn that, oh shit, maybe I was wrong. They are not like this and that, how I thought or how I was taught by my parents, by other friends, whatever. This exposure will always create such things. And in the case of Will now, when he traveled the world, for sure, he would gain much more experience and knowledge about other traditions. And that made him, as he said, this worldly man that he now is.
to who I am now, I really have to say wholeheartedly it's because of Chinese martial arts. So, it is easy to bash them. It's always easy to find the negatives with something, but I have to be really thankful for all it's given me and made me who I am today. So I hope all of that makes sense. Maybe it was a little bit long-winded, but I wanted to share that with you guys. I wanted to, give something a little bit more personal about myself and some of my thoughts. So I hope you enjoyed that. And as always, thank you for watching the video. Please go on to my new store, monkeyofferspeech.com. Really appreciate it. The store's just getting up and running. Thank you for that, and see you in the next video.
So, and I would wonder, why did you practice martial arts in the first place? So to answer that in the comments down below, so I know that you watched the whole video, not just one snippet of it. And I would say, until next one, train martial arts no matter what, but always be honest with what you train.